from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News broadcast. We are coming to you live from the National News Studio. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
I'm Niket Karunaratne and we'll start off with the headlines as usual.
Price increases in the PETA market are reported to be the outcome of importers raising prices. The spread of the paddy swarming caterpillar disease has been fully controlled, a fungal disease on cloves and nutmeg cultivations. The President receives the 2048 National Physical Planning Policy Draft Bill. Acting ministers for 3 ministries. 2 murders in Kalutara and Matugama. Pineapples which could earn plentiful dollars. Russia's first strategic nuclear arms system in Belarus.
And for those and other stories in detail. Wholesale traders say a somewhat increase in commodity prices in the market has been created as a result of the importers of the item raising prices. They add that as a result, they were compelled to increase the prices of their goods according to the value of the dollar.
Meanwhile, Restaurant Owners Association says that prices of items are being increased rapidly with the increase in the dollar value. The association points out that, however, errant traders failed to hand over the benefits of decreases in prices to the consumers in the same speed that they increased the prices. The national television was engaged in a fact-finding tour at the PETA wholesale market. This LRC team was told by traders on this occasion that in comparison to the last week's prices, several items, including dal, potatoes and onions, a substantial increase has been witnessed this week. They further said that as a result, the demand for such items has gone down. President of the Canteen Owners Association, Asela Sampath, said that the prices yesterday have increased by around 30 to 35 rupees today. He further questioned on how the prices have increased with the increment of the dollar at a glance without even having pending shipments. He said that the prices of potatoes, onions and dal have gone up by around 20 to 30 rupees. Meanwhile, the Organization for the Protection of the Rights of Consumers says some businessmen issue to the market coconut oil mixed with palm oil. The Department of Agriculture says the disease caused by the paddy swarming caterpillar or the lawn army worm has now been completely controlled.
Paddy lands in some areas in the island were affected by this disease during the yellow season. The Department of Agriculture says that, however, the menace had no adverse impact on the overall paddy harvest in the country. Director of the Paddy Research Institute, Dr. Jayantha Senanayaka, who has inspected the damage inflicted by this species, said the presence of the swarming caterpillar in small scale does not bear harmful repercussions in the cultivation lands. Necessary instructions on the disease could be received from the regional agricultural officials. Dr. Jayantha Senanayaka requests the farmers to follow the advice of the officials even though the disease is fully under control. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture says the state of paddy leaves turning yellowish, as reported in the past few days, was not a disease condition but a sign of shortage in nitrogen in the soil. In the event of the yellowing of the paddy field, the MOP fertilizer mixed with urea fertilizer should be applied in order to boost the harvest. Deputy District Director of the Department of Agriculture, Shanta Bandara, says the cultivations of nutmegs and cloves are reported to be affected by a fungus spread through the wind and water. 2 types of fungi, different from each other, are said to be affecting the 2 crops. The Deputy Director also points out that there is a danger of the substantial decline in harvest in the event of failure to control the spread of the diseases. Currently, nutmeg is cultivated in 3,000 hectares of land and cloves in around 8,000 hectares throughout the island. The spread of the disease is prominent especially in the Kandy and Kegor districts.
Distribution of urea fertilizer to farmers of the Giritale settlement has taken place at the Agrarian Services Centre in Giritale yesterday. The fertilizer stocks donated by the European Union were distributed free of charge among the farmers. Each of the 762 farmers of the Giritale scheme has received 50 kilograms of urea fertilizer. Paddy is being cultivated in an extent of 5,000 acres in Galen Bindunuwava, Anuradhapura. 5,400 acres of land have also come under cultivation of other crops. Farmers have lamented that they have not yet received the government's fertilizer subsidies despite the lapse of 30 days upon commencement of paddy cultivations. They have also complained that despite the receipt of fertilizer stocks by the Galen Bindunuwava Agrarian Service Centre depots, they have not been appropriately distributed amongst the farmers.
The National Physical Planning Policy Draft Bill 2048 was handed over to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. It was presented to the President by the Minister of Urban Development and Housing, Prasanna Ranatunga. The draft bill has been prepared by including numerous relevant projects and programs being implemented by all ministries and departments and their affiliated institutions. The bill has received the recommendations of the Inter-Ministerial Secretaries Committee and submitted for the approval of the National Physical Planning Council, of which President is also a member. Ministers who are members of the National Physical Planning Council as well as officials have also attended the occasion.
The National Investigation Agency of India has filed a charge sheet against 13 people, including 10 Sri Lankans, in connection to its probe into illegal drugs and arms trades case. The agency said that the case was relating to attempts to revive the activities of Sri Lankan separatist group Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam in India and Sri Lanka. The agency said that the charge sheet was filed on Thursday against the arrested accused for the illegal drug trade to fund, amass and stash weapons for the revival of the LTTE in India and Sri Lanka. Further, the agency has named Sri Lankan nationals who allegedly ran a drug syndicate in the island and have been accused of working with an international drug arms supplier.
By now, throughout the foreign markets, there is a high demand for the pineapple fruit. It has become a value-added export product which brings valuable dollars to the country.
In Sri Lanka as well, pineapples are quite expensive. This is mainly due to its natural sweet flavour. Foreigners say the taste of pineapples in Sri Lanka is far superior to pineapples grown in other countries. Now, the special feature of our story is that there is a successful business venture in the island which earns much needed foreign exchange by exporting pineapples in different forms to the international community. However, Sri Lanka's pineapple exports are mainly directed to Germany. The local pineapple industry has been able to generate many direct and indirect employment opportunities to a large number of people. The industry daily processes between 3,000 to 5,000 kilos of pineapple for the export market. It was the Sri Lanka Export Development Board which has paved the way for the industrialists to target the foreign market in a big way. It has also been pointed out that if those who are willing to embark upon a successful pineapple export industry, they should first of all correctly identify the market requirements. The Nuga Sevana program of the national television has completed 23 years.
A special program including a workshop to commemorate the event was held throughout the day today at the Lavanya Hotel in Hikkaduwa. Event included programs on handicrafts, medical discussions, positive thinking, beauty care, bridal dressing, self-employment guidelines and special cookery programs. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, W.B. Ganegala, has presided over the event, which was also attended by executive officials of the corporation. The other notable participants were Gold District Secretary Shanta Virasinghe, Hikkaduwa Divisional Secretary Attorney at Law Janaka Gurusinghe, Chairman of the Minor Entrepreneur Development Division Sudhira Jayaratna, Chairperson of the Southern Province Beauticians Collection Hilda Vikramabahu and other sponsors.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says the remaining 15% of reconstruction from Ambatale to Orugodavatta on the Avissavella Old Road will be completed before the end of the year. The minister has made these remarks while engaging in an inspection tour in the Kolodnava electorate. The President, at a recent progress evaluation meeting, has instructed to complete development activities on the road within 3 months. Deployment of 2 new buses on the route numbers 152 and 150 has also taken place on this occasion. Minister Gunawardena has also looked into the shortcomings prevailing at the Meetotamulla depot. A Shramadana campaign has also taken place at the depot premises to control the dengue epidemic. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that Orugodavatta Ambatale Road is being reconstructed through the Gulf Load Assistance. The work has not been stored completely. He has admitted that work is being carried forward slowly. He further said that they had a meeting with contractors yesterday and they were given orders to complete the remaining 15% of the work without delay.
The Vides Balaya organization is inquiring as to whether the delay in the digitalization of the foreign employment sector is an outcome of the influence of racketeers in the field. Convener of the organization, Janaka Balala, has expressed his opinion in this regard at a media briefing in Colombo today. Convener of the Vides Balaya organization, Janaka Balala, requested to the Minister to clarify his position whether he was fulfilling the needs of the racketeers. He has urged to divulge the truth on this issue to the general public. He has also charged the minister for leaving aside the digitalization process. He also complained that some women are going foreign employment through out-of-the-bureau influences. The convener has rejected minister's statements regarding the halting of the out-of-the-bureau activities. He added that he could substantiate his accusations with relevant evidence.
For the first time in naval history of the country, female sailors have been assigned on maritime duties recently.
They have embarked upon their initial assignments by traveling to India. These women Navy officers were engaged in a maiden electronic media program with the national television recently. The initial batch of Sri Lankan female Navy cadre included 2 officials and 5 sailors. They had commenced their first official duty on the 11th of last month by enlisting themselves in services in the Sri Lankan Navy ship Gajabahu. The historic female naval crew members expressed their views regarding the new venture in their line of duties. Lieutenant Hansini Singha said that she joined the Navy following completion of the university education. She said that there was a great enthusiasm over the Navy from the initial stage of her service life. She joined the Navy to cater her deep curiosity and enthusiasm. Lieutenant Commander Anuradha said that conducting duties in a warship is a challenging task than regular naval duties. The condition of the sea changes time to time, have to sail through calm seas as well as rough seas. She said new line of duties is a challenging one. Medical assistant J.N.I. Pereira said they have all kinds of medical facilities on the land. However, in a warship, they have to treat patients and face medical emergencies with a very limited number of resources. They have to manage situations until they reach the shore. Up to now, only male naval cadre were permitted in duties in ships and other Navy craft. Even female officials and Navy cadets had been granted the opportunity to enroll in a basic program on coastal patrolling in October of 2022. The program had provided basic training on water-based activities, extinguishing fire, exchanging of messages, providing first aid in warfare, basic training on electronic and electric systems. The practical training was conducted at the Navy and Oceanic Science faculties and also at the Navy Yard in Trincomalee. Commander of Gajabahu warship, Captain Indika De Silva, said that it's a historic moment in Sri Lanka Navy following the first recruitment of female sailors back in 1984. In the early days, female sailors were only assigned for office jobs. However, now they have to work side by side with their male colleagues who are serving in warships. The commander said that number of tasks have been assigned to the new female crew. It is a customary practice of many navies throughout the world to deployment of female Navy officers in operations in ships and other naval craft. The Sri Lankan Navy hopes to effectively deploy more female officers and sailors in maritime duties in future.
A ceremony in connection with the International Yoga Day was conducted at the Independence Square in Colombo today.
It was conducted with exercises and displays. Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, Ministers Bandula Gunawarddena, Ali Sabri and Cecil Premchandra were among the others who attended this event.
In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out and over. Left side, be there for a few seconds. Relax, breathe in and breathe out.
Of living foundation. Om Kriya Babaji Yoga.
Here are more news items in brief. Shahan Singha, Pramita Bandara Tennakoon and Kanaka Herath have been appointed respectively as acting ministers in charge of the Ministries of Finance, Technology and Defence. These temporary appointments have been made due to President Ranil Wickremesinghe engaging in an official overseas tour. A person was brutally cut to death by a sharp weapon in Kalutara last night. Investigations conducted so far have revealed that the murder was committed as a result of a personal dispute. Another killing due to a personal dispute was reported from Matugama. The victim, who was heading for treatment from injuries sustained in an assault.
Progress evaluation meeting on the Digavapi and Nilagiri Sayak reconstruction on projects was held at the Ministry of Defence yesterday. The meeting was presided over by Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne. More attention has been focused on the selection of specific types of mason mixtures for durability, as well as the usage of specific types of bricks used by ancient builders of stupas. Attention was also being focused at the meeting on the construction of the proposed Buddha shrine, chamber of sacred relics and the pilgrims' rest at the Digavapi Raja Mahavihara premises. The estimated height of the Chaitya is 268 feet. Up to now, construction of 57 feet from the floor level up to the chamber of the stupa has been completed. Those who are willing to donate to the reconstruction project are able to obtain information from the website of the Digavapya, www.digavapya.lk. Reconstruction of the Nilagiri Mahasaya has so far been carried out at the height of 41 feet from the ground level. The Department of Archaeology and other relevant state institutions are monitoring the reconstruction project. That's all the news we have from home. Stay tuned for international stories coming up next.
Welcome back, and on foreign news, Russian President Vladimir Putin says that Russia has already stationed the first batch of tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Russia's president told a forum that they would only be used if Russia's territory or state was threatened. He further said that the US government says there is no indication the Kremlin plans to use nuclear weapons to attack Ukraine. Belarus is a key Russian ally and served as a launchpad for Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February last year. President Putin said that transferring the tactical nuclear warheads would be completed by the end of summer. The largest one's tactical nuclear weapons can be as big as 100 kilograms.
Around 40 people, mostly pupils, have been killed at the school in western Uganda by rebels linked to an Islamic State group. A further 8 people remain in critical condition after the attack on a secondary school in western Uganda. It was reported that pupils staying in dormitories are among the dead and several others have been abducted. The Allied Democratic Forces based in the Republic of Congo has been blamed in this regard. The ages of victims are not known. The Uganda Army has also deployed helicopters to help track the rebel group.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said that at least 15 people have died after a serious road crash in the Canadian province of Manitoba. The crash was between a semi-trailer truck and a bus carrying mostly elderly people. Police said the collision occurred on the Trans-Canada Highway near Carberry in west of Winnipeg. Emergency crews and air ambulances have responded to the crash. Emergency vehicles including an air ambulance and 12 ambulances had been dispatched to the scene. Most of the seniors aboard the handy transit vehicle were from Manitoba and the surrounding areas. At least 10 people, including the 2 drivers, are at hospital with likely significant injuries considering the magnitude and force applied from the crash. King Charles III revived a royal tradition by riding on horseback in the first trooping, the colour of his reign, which marks the British sovereign's official birthday. The traditional military spectacle is a parade like no other, with all the pomp and pageantry expected of royal occasions, and draws massive crowds to central London. King Charles' actual birthday is in November and is typically celebrated privately. He joined 1,500 soldiers, 300 horses and hundreds of musicians as they filed the short distance from Buckingham Palace to Horse Guards Parade in St James's Park. It was a sight not seen for nearly 40 years. The last time a reigning monarch rode in the procession was Queen Elizabeth II in 1986.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
On sports news, the Sri Lanka netball team has been successful in clinching the 3rd position in the Asian Youth Netball Championship tournament, which is conducted in Korea.
The match for the 3rd place was conducted between Sri Lanka and the Hong Kong teams. At the end of the first half, the Hong Kong team was leading 11-10. However, the Sri Lankan competitors have played aggressively in the 2nd and 3rd halves, and the final tally was in favour of the Sri Lankan team, 46-32. With this victory, the Sri Lankan youth netball team has secured its place in the World Youth Netball Championship. Vidyartha College Kandy beat St Thomas's College Mount Lavinia in an inter-school rugby tournament match played at the Bogambara grounds. It was an evenly contested encounter from the beginning, with the Vidyartha place taking the lead 14-12 at the end of the first half. The Vidyartha team have added 2 tries and a conversation in the second half to secure a final tally of 26-19. Another inter-school rugby tournament match got underway between Thurston College Colombo and Piliyamdala Central College. The Thurston team has secured a victory of 34-17 in the match played at the Thurston College grounds. In the first ever cricket match between Mahamaya and St Anthony's Girls' School of Kandy played at the Pallekele Stadium, the Mahamaya team has secured a 4-wicket victory. It was over 30 overs match and St Anthony's players have scored 167 runs for the loss of 7 wickets within the allotted overs. The Mahamaya team have responded and achieved the victory target in 29 overs with 4 wickets in hand.
Prima Kotumi Fantamai.
And that's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on ChannelEye. I'm Dilanjali, together with Niket, signing off. Good night.
Good night.